outside of American the scope of American football. We're going to talk about darts. By the time we upload this, when this is uploaded, it will be 2 days. The time of uploading will be 2 days away from the final of the World Darts Championship, which begins. I think it's on the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. We're taping this on the 13th of December, so the actual championship starts in 2 days. So we will be able to make predictions before the start of the actual event, but that will be a bit later. Instead, I want now to focus more on the business aspect of the PDC. As we know, the PDC is one organization, big sports organization that's definitely not following the typical European model of how a sports organization is run. And it's also a sports organization that's enjoyed tremendous success. You can make the case it's helped redefine the way sports are covered and the way sports are managed in the UK, and not only in the UK. There's been incredible demand for that here in the Netherlands, incredible demand for that in Germany, as well as in other territories. First, a quote by the now former chairman of the Professional Darts Corporation, Barry Hearn. He was replaced by his son, Eddie Hearn, last year. He told CNBC in 2019, I quote, a lot of problems that exist in other sports don't exist in darts. It's a party with a world-class sporting event all wrapped into one thing. In the past, there's been a little bit of snobbiness in some circles looking down their noses saying it's only darts. But now, all of those sports wish they were only darts. What were the elements that made darts, of all possible sport-related products, a force to be reckoned with?
Yeah, I think one thing that I think it was mentioned in the quote, or either you mentioned it, the fact that a lot of people don't only view it as a sporting event, and they actually view it as an entertainment. Like if you go to a dart event, it's an actual party. Like you enjoy your time there. You're not only there to watch the games, because you can watch it at home for sure. You're probably better off if you just want to watch the game. You're probably better off staying at home. But it's the fact that you go there and there's such a great atmosphere in most arenas, and it's pretty unique for every different venue and for every country. I think that's a big reason for it. They kind of try to make it a show instead of like it's obviously a sports competition, but they also kind of make it a show. They used to do that with also the dance girls and all the walk-on songs that they allow the players to do. I think that's all part of it. Like it just makes the whole product more entertaining. A lot of like for example, for me, I love watching the walk-ons as well, so I usually turn on the TV like instead of turning it on, like I don't know, when the game starts, I turn it off like 10 minutes before, so I can watch the walk-ons as well, because I'm always interested in what songs like players I do not necessarily watch a lot like choose. They also do this at the halftime, like even in the breaks, it's like there's not like a halftime show or something that's happening, but they always play music. They have these like iconic songs, like a couple of songs that they always play, and the fans just embrace it, and they're just having a really good time. And I think it's part of it. Like if you're viewing it from home, you can see how everyone's having a good time, and it feels like a great event. So I think to me that's one of the biggest reasons as to why darts stands out, or the PDC stands out from other leagues. You don't really have that kind of entertainment or fun factor.
And its growth has been unprecedented, and it's really undeniable. In 2001, the total prize pool of all PDC tournaments, just to show our audience, especially Jonas that's not aware with that, that's not familiar with that. In 2001, the total prize pool of all PDC competitions was £500. This year, it passed £15 million for the first time. That's a growth of an over 30-fold growth.
Just to compare it, there's these floor tournaments which are not played in front of crowds, just played on the like in like a venue or something. They have these events called Players Championship events, where they have like 120 players just compete throughout the day, and then one wins at the end. If you win the first match there, you get £500 for that. I mean, and that was the combined prize pool in 2001. You said
50 of all competitions,
Mhm.
£500,000.
oh 500,000. Okay, you
Yeah.
said 500. I was like, there's no way.
500,000,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
500,000.
okay. But it's still like nothing. Like 500,000.
It's a over 34 growth.
Yeah, like 500,000 you get for winning the World Cup right now. That's just for
even
winners.
adjusted for inflation, that's a huge growth.
And especially comparing it to like how many more tournaments there. Like I don't know how many more tournaments there are, but
That's
probably
partially because
a lot more.
there are more tournaments, but you have more tournaments because you can facilitate more tournaments.
And obviously they started like doing becoming more global. Like it used to be a very like UK or like English England centric sport, but they have started to, like, for example, they started the European tour events in 2013 when they would like visit several European countries and just hold like a 3-day event there, and they would allow the home nation to have like 4 players representing them in the tournament. So it just, once again, just a good way to grow the sport. They did the same with the World Series events when they not just to Europe, they have been to Australia, New Zealand, Japan, the USA like multiple times, just trying to grow the game and promote it. And they have like exhibition events there. So yeah, I mean, they are doing a fantastic job with the tournaments, I think. And I don't know how much more you can include, because I think the PDC calendar is already kind of stacked.
Yeah.
You can't really include like much
Yeah,
more
they-
because
they-
for the tournaments, but
There's very little you can still
There's no
sneak in, and they did that because they put two January events.
this year, I mean,
Yeah, they're gonna have 2 World Series events in Bahrain, and Copenhagen. They're gonna be in January, about 10 days after the completion of the World Championship.
and when's the Masters then? Is it in February?
The Masters is in the end of January.
Okay.
Those are gonna be in the middle.
Yeah, okay, because usually January is like
January is like-
least impactful.
January is usually a rest and
Yeah,
the Q
yeah.
school, where players who've
Oh,
lost
yeah.
their pro tour cards try to earn them back,
Yeah, it's gonna be.
or people who haven't.
yeah,
obviously,
Q
no.
school is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, it always is these days because the field is very competitive. Back to the party identity of darts. It gives life to the product in a uniform way that defines their corporate strategy, but it also, talking about the walk-on songs, it gives some kind of identity, some kind of a character, a gimmick, if you will, to the individual players.
Yeah, definitely
And
agree.
this has progressed so much these days. Even have players who the crowd is perceiving as antagonists.
Yeah.
Gary Price, for
Gary
example,
Price.
is the best example. How impressive is, and how would you describe, how would you characterize PDC's storytelling?
I think they're doing a pretty good job. I don't know like how much is like actually in like PDCs, like how much you can actually like put this on PDC, like storytelling wise.
I would just mention Gary Anderson said that the Flying Scotsman as a nickname was chosen by the PDC. Plus they do a lot through their channels to tell the stories of the wrestlers, because they talked about gimmicks of the darts players.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they also do a lot of like shorter like videos on their YouTube page as well, where they like try to include the bigger players. But I feel like you can all kind of see there that most of the players are genuinely like each other. Like there's not a lot of conflict. If there's conflict, it usually doesn't last a long time, unless you're Van Gerwen and Jelle Klassen.
That's one of the interesting stories.
I mean, we've seen Gavin Price have altercations with Gary Anderson before, probably Michael Van Gerwen as well. We've seen it happen between, I don't know, Phil Taylor and Barney back in the day. I mean, it's a competition. Emotions are going to come out. Emotions are high, so it will happen eventually. It happens in every sport. I think the fact what I do like about darts a lot is that they are a lot of the players are very unique, and as you said, it gives them some kind of identity. They have their vocal songs. Some players have their like special kind of clothing, like Peter Wright.
Everybody's got a unique attitude.
Yeah, not everyone, but there are some boring players, if you can call them that. But I mean,
Yeah.
but it's also, I think it's kind of a there's some negative connotations with that, because Danny Noppert, for example, has been called like boring by a lot of people, and a lot of people argue that Danny Noppert shouldn't be in the Premier League because he's a boring character. Like, there's nothing to him. He's just there to play darts, which it should be fine. Like, that should still be looked at as something that's a good thing in darts. But I feel like people nowadays just kind of want more and more entertainment. So they want to see, obviously, they want to see like the fun figures there, like Dirk van Duijvenbode, who has this crazy like Dutch techno or like trap.
It's not that anymore. It's not that anymore.
No, it's still that.
It's still that.
Yeah,
I thought
he had a
changed
walk
it.
on a couple of weeks ago to that. I think on the Grand Slam of Darts or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think a lot of fans nowadays would like to see more characters. But then if you have someone like Gervin Price, who actually shows that he has a personality, they boo him because he celebrates, I don't know, excessively. Like, to me, it's a little bit of a double standard with darts fans there. That's why you can't like please everyone, and the PDC is doing, I think, a really good job in like advertising their product. But yeah, I mean, the fans are gonna be critical.
Back to Danny Noppert being a boring player, and his gimmick.
Which I disagree with, by the way. I
his
don't think
gimmick,
he's boring.
his gimmick might or might not be boring, despite the fact that this has very different definitions. Boring is too abstract of a term. But can you not agree that the Premier League, because it's not a ranking tournament,
It's an exhibition basically.
It's like exhibition for with a lot of incentives, a lot of financial incentives,
and a lot of prestige, I guess. But
it has to be a balance between the selection.
Yeah, the players.
Excluding the first four players, because the first four players are the top four automatically. The other two are two wildcards by Sky, two wildcards by the PDC. Wouldn't you agree that those selections have to be a mix between gimmick and performance? Because you cannot just have one or the other. Because if you have just performance, your business plan is not very resilient. And if you have just gimmick, you discredit your entire system.
Yeah, but see, like, I feel like we've seen this before in Premier League, that there have been a lot of years when it's just like the decision was, for example, very clear for who to be the 10 players, and they chose them. And it was like, I guess it was a mix of performance and like personality or gimmick, but it's mainly performance. Like, just because you have a fun gimmick, you're not gonna make the Premier League. Jose de Sousa didn't make the Premier League because he was I don't know, like a fun character. He was actually a really good player.
Well, characters don't have to be fun. They sometimes are built up through great encounters with rivals. It doesn't have to be a clown for a gimmick to be good.
Yeah, that's true also. But like, for most people, I mean, but why would someone call Danny Noppert boring? What is like?
Depends on how you define boring.
Yeah, like, to me, Danny Noppert has.
I watch cricket. Nothing can be boring to me. Somebody else can explain what boring means to them.
To me, Danny Noppert has one of the prettiest throws in the entire PDC circuit. I love watching his throw because he's a very consistent player as well. I don't know how that's boring. If you want to watch like the I don't know, the players like outside the darts, then do that. But I actually care about the game. I like the fact that he's like no BS, just goes there, does his job, and does it extremely consistently. Yeah. So to me, Danny Noppert is not boring, for example.
Yeah. Well, he has the Friesland flag on his sleeve, and I like Friesland, so he can't be boring to me either.